Hey
Oh,
everybody, well,
it's okay.
what? What's okay?
Why don't you start?
No, we're going now.
I
That's
was
how we're
gonna do the
starting.
intro for you because you said
Oh, you do it then. Go for it.
okay. No, I don't want to do it. Got
I'm
your
just
happy
put,
face on.
I'm putting all of this in there. If you haven't figured it out yet, this is Video Game
Okay.
Collectors Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Video Game Collectors Podcast. I am your host, Matt Rose. This is Josh Byerly, as Eric would say. Byerly. He always says that. I just
That's the New
laugh.
Hampshire accent. Yeah.
And today we have a special guest and viewer, listener, watcher, maybe all three, Chris
All
Gliddon.
three. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hi.
welcome.
Thanks
Glad
for
to
having
have
me.
you
This
on.
is great to finally chat with you guys. Like I think I've probably gone to your booth numerous times and then not realized that I had the times I've been to
Probably.
Portland, like with or without my kids. So
I was gonna
yeah.
say, if you've been there four times, you've
hmm
had to have bumped into us or said hi or all of the above.
Yeah,
But
I get all like sort of shy and nervous and weird, so I don't necessarily super approach people all the time. Like first time I went in 2015, I basically brought all my video gear. I had my like new Blackmagic cinema camera. Brought that because I was like, well, if nothing else, maybe I'll just film stuff. I don't know. And then I just was like, well, maybe I'll interview random strangers. And so I just that's what I did the first time I was at Portland to try and meet people. Um, so
I wouldn't say that's shy. And if you're coming on the podcast, that's not shy at all. I mean, we're always telling people, I think maybe some people think we're joking, but we're always saying, hey, if you want to come on the podcast and talk video games, come on. We don't want this to be like an elite thing by any means, or, we want to talk
no,
video games and everybody's got knowledge about something. And we know you have some knowledge that we're going to dig into here in a little bit about I know nothing about or little about, but Josh seems to like. You guys have chats back and forth
I,
and comments about it.
I
But
think I think I liked it.
Josh thinks he likes it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I
uh,
can, maybe I'll tell you about it and then you'll decide that you don't like it. I'll let you decide. I'll tell you stuff. Is that interesting? Is it not interesting? Am I interested? Do I want to pursue this? Nah, I don't know. And maybe you'll end up picky like Tyler. Um, Tyler got into some of the key titles from their history. Yeah, anyways.
and we're also happy to find out that you are another Canadian fan. So we have three Canadian fans now. We're happy to announce that.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But
So
so
hold on a second. Hold on a second, Matt. So back in 2015 at Portland, what were we? That was at the convention center, Yep. right? Yeah, it would have been. Yeah. Was that Seaside? Did we bring the Seaside video games in 2015, Matt?
ooh, that'd have been close. Yeah, we would have had a table kind of in the middle-ish, and we had not a table, but we had like we must have had 10 tables and we had tons of Super Nintendo and regular Nintendo games, like
And 64.
N64. We had
And Genesis. We had a bunch of Genesis as well.
more than half of a Super Nintendo set. Same with Nintendo 64 and not quite half on Nintendo. So we had, 1,000 plus games, all CIB. They were video rentals, so they were kind of, you could tell there was some fading, there were little punch holes and stuff like that, but
Or was that or was that 2014? I can't remember. Yeah.
I don't remember. We had it for a
I
couple of
could,
years.
the cool thing is I've probably still got the B roll that I shot while I was there because I basically shot a bunch of coverage so that I could interview people and then I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know what else. I don't know anybody. I'm gone by myself. I've driven for 8 hours to go to this random convention that I pulled out of like the back of a retro gaming magazine and was just because I was working on a board game called Collector Quest. Fun
Hmm.
fact. And so I decided that I was like, I should, go to a convention. That looks interesting. Portland's cool. Let's go to Portland. It'll take 9 hours to drive there. Why not? Let's do it. I'm like, I don't know anybody, so I guess I'll bring my gear. Yeah. So I could go and look through the footage and see if I can find you guys. You
Wow.
can confirm. Yeah, you should put that up on online though. Like any of that footage is great. Sometimes I go back and I try to find old Portland
footage, and it's kind of hard actually.
I'll send you the clips
On.
of what I've got because I filmed a few things. Like I recorded some of the music, like the concerts that were there that
Mhm.
year, stand-up comedian, did some interviews with a bunch of folks, and then I tried to chop it together really, really late, which I have up on YouTube from eons ago. But
Okay.
I interviewed the guys from Watch Out for Fireballs, and that video just keeps getting views constantly on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
So is your YouTube the same as your handle you use everywhere, Tiger Wolf Games?
Yeah, Tiger Wolf, which is actually a reference to Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2 for Super
Okay.
Nintendo. If you play that game, which I know would be totally your favorite, right? It's totally the same as Doom and Halo 4. It's like exactly the same type of game, right?
Halo
Um,
4. Oh, man.
yeah,
As elements of platformer and basic common sense, right?
yeah.
In Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Yeah. So it's basically one of the
Um,
strategies you
no.
use where you're
Okay.
like,
Sorry to
I,
go on
I
a
want
tangent.
Josh to rise up and rebel against Matt. You know, Josh is Matt's soldier, and I want him to rebel and be his own ruler. So use the Tiger Wolf strategy. And you're saying, you should become the ruler. I'm going to take over the podcast and evict Matt. You know, so there was a reference to that technique, the Tiger Wolf technique. Actually, there's a really cool Japanese film called like the Tiger Wolf technique. It's a really cool poster. I've considered buying it, but yeah, it was. I started a podcast with my buddy Nate just mainly as an excuse to hang out, and that was the name we landed on, and kind of stuck. And I just kept using it, and then I ended up using the handle everywhere rather than him. So
Are you still
Nice.
doing the podcast?
So, so occasionally, like we basically just fell off, didn't do it for a while, started another one, lost all the recordings. So it's kind of one of those level of consistencies, I would say.
Tiger,
Yeah.
is it so
Was it
Tiger Wolf
strictly
Games?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, part of the problem is we were tiger slash wolf, and then finding it anywhere was just, anyways, it's a mess. And so,
I've seen that. So that's the confusing part to
yeah.
me. Tiger slash Wolf. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Well, it's,
you took the moniker and kept it for yourself.
yeah. Well, I mean, the funny thing is Wolf is really like my buddy's middle name. His middle name is Wolfie. So I was like, well, it's kind of a fun playoff. So I'm like, oh, I guess I'll be Tiger. I don't know. But then it's like, hey, Tiger. Sounds weird. So
We,
I don't
we,
know.
you're already one of my favorite guests because you brought up Halo 4 within the first 5 minutes. So
Nice.
you
Brownie
get it.
points. That's what I
Yeah,
was aiming for.
gold star.
Well, I figured I'm gonna bring it downhill into obscure Koei crap that nobody cares about. So like I might as well like put some good stuff right up front.
Hook 'em with Halo 4 and then let 'em-
Well, okay, okay. So Koei, let's get right into it.
what?
Yeah.
Let's not waste anybody's time. We know that that's what everybody's here to listen for. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm
Yep.
like I want Chris on here.
All right.
Tell me why. Why did you go down this road, this Koei road, and how far have you gone down, and how deep does it go?
How deep is the sickness? Okay. Well, I guess to take a step back, I've got three kids. So I don't have a huge budget for collecting, and I don't have huge amounts of space because we live in a condo. So, that kind of sets some constraints. What are you gonna work on, Chris? Um, and really, like my favorite company is probably Square Enix. So I'm more of a fan of like turn-based games than I am
Hmm.
action games. So I'm kind of on the opposite extreme of you guys. Like I talk to a lot of people about the cozy to competitive continuum, right? So it's only in the last few years that the word cozy has shown up as this Gen Z description of games that are sort of low stress, brain off kind of games.
Hmm.
But they're non-competitive. You're not battling somebody else. It's not like if I was trying to battle Matt in Halo, I would get pwned. I'm terrible at it. I'm older. I'm Gen X. My reflexes aren't quite the same. But when I think about it, it's just for me, I have this fascination with Japan. So I was a big, like, I got into video games when they basically was the 1983 crash. And it was a glorious time. Like, I know, Matt, you collect Atari. I love
Yeah.
Atari, right?
Yeah.
So Atari has some of the best box art ever.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's, if you think about what we're doing as video game collectors, we're collecting box art, right? So really you're looking
Essentially.
at it, you're
Yeah.
like, this is beautiful box art. I want this. It looks good up on a shelf. It looks even better if it's like, if it's sealed, make sure it gets into a case. And I love the new Wata case actually. Like controversial take. I know some people like the older one, but I don't know. What if you got a sealed one, getting it into a nice case so you actually enjoy holding the thing is really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you accidentally
Um,
drop it, it doesn't just break the top of it off. So
yeah,
yeah,
and
that
it
too.
it probably would. Um, but but yeah, like collecting is an interesting journey because I got the bug because of my dad. He was an antiques guy, right? Still is actually, sells stuff. So he's the buy sell type guy.
Hmm.
But he had like, I think at his peak he had like 5 or 6 storage lockers, maybe it was more, full of stuff, but he was selling antiques. He got up to two, like quarter of a million of books, like
Oh,
100,000 records, and then there was a big fire that burned out like half of his stuff. He
Oh
lost
God.
a ton of stuff. And so when I think about collecting, and I've had problems, right, in the past where I've had records. Like I'm a big music guy.
Hmm.
And so I love collecting records. I think records is actually, in a lot of ways, I prefer it over video game collecting. So it's a long-winded way of saying it, but the bug was always there. We would go to thrift stores, like we started at the video game crash of '83. We got into collecting Commodore games at like flea markets and stuff in the '80s.
wow.
And then kind of into the '90s, I got into collecting like other stuff. So I was like collecting comics and I had like Conan one. Always been around collecting comics, had boxes and boxes of Star Wars toys. Um, but basically when I had a kid, the woman that I ended up marrying and then divorcing, she was just anti my music, anti video games, anti everything. And so I just kind of exited video games. Like right around the time of the N64 and the PlayStation, I left. So it wasn't really until I got a job in video games that I got to go and work and like be around it again, right? So then I was blessed because I'm like, oh, fantastic, I can get back into games. So yeah, anyways, but like when I was a kid, I was obsessed with one Commodore game that we got, which was Shogun. Uh, based on the James Clavell novel. Obviously,
Hmm.
there's the recent FX series, which I was expecting to hate. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's the Koei show of my dreams. This is exactly what I wanted when I was a kid, and now I've got it. It's like this badass mini series, based on the sort of shogunate. And I love this. This is awesome. I can't believe we're doing this. Fantastic. And it's actually good. Ah, fantastic. Yes, that looks like Vancouver, but whatever, I'll forgive it. Yeah, it's in Japan. Um,
It's cheaper to shoot in Vancouver. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So like because I was obsessed with like Japanese stuff in that
Hmm.
time, like coming out of Shogun and then into the 90s, and I got moved out, small town. We moved out to this small town in the middle of nowhere in Canada. And that had nothing to do, right? So what do you do when it's the 90s and there's nothing to do? You rent video games, right?
Hmm.
Nothing else to do. And you go to the shop and I'm interested in Japanese stuff. And then I go and I see like the artwork on these Koei games is
Hmm.
way better than the artwork on like any of the Atari games. Like I love Atari art, but let me tell you, do you know who Noriyoshi Arai is?
See the artist for the Koei covers?
Yeah, but
Okay.
you know what else he's done, right?
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay, well, have you seen the Star Wars poster, like Empire Strikes Back in Japan,
Yeah, I've
or
seen it.
that's
Yeah.
him?
Okay.
So
Okay.
they literally got the Star Wars official Japanese Star Wars poster artist to do the
Hmm.
Koei covers, right?
That's insane. Yeah.
So when you look at this stuff, like, yeah, I could go and collect Satchin and NWC carts and all this other stuff, whatever. Everybody talks about this stuff. Why wouldn't I collect the stuff that's like got this amazing, like feudal Japanese art? Like, I look at the cover of a Nindo, right? It's a
Hmm.
game totally panned, right? And this game is super rough. But like the artwork on this thing is
It's legit.
gorgeous. It's
Yeah.
badass, right? Like heavy metal looking dragon in the background. Like it's awesome.
So he's the Drew Struzan of Japan then, right? Coming
Yeah.
over into the video game realm from the
Yeah.
movie realm, doing things. That's cool.
Yeah.
Or
And
the
then the music
adaptation.
is like you've got basically some of the most legendary musicians who composed for these, like these are legendary Japanese musicians.
Hmm.
So Yoko Kanno, for example, she composed like the Cowboy Bebop music, right? She's the composer on Nobunaga's Ambition, right?
Yeah.
She composed the music for Uncharted Waters New Horizons. That's pretty cool. If you're into like city pop, Japanese city pop, that kind of funky Takanaka style guitar music, it's pretty
Hmm.
fun. Like beach music, it's really upbeat, good mood, good vibes. There's a band that's really big in Japan in the 80s called Cassiopeia, and the keyboardist composed the music for Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2 and 3. So they got like these are big musicians in Japan.
Hmm.
And what's fascinating is like Koei is $1 billion company today. It is, if you look it up, it's one of the biggest gaming companies in Japan, right? Look it up on the Tokyo Stock Exchange. Look at it; it's up there, and sometimes it surpasses Capcom, Square Enix. So I'm like, how is it that this company was started by a husband and wife, right, out of his house doing homebrew with these games that they assembled themselves in their house, Josh? Why would I care about Satchin when you got the $1 billion company and these games are sitting there and no one is realizing it? Why the
Nobody,
hell would I care about Satchin compared to
nobody
that?
should care about Sachin. They really shouldn't.
You just
They
well,
Anyways, it's just
shouldn't.
what so it's super cool because like I nerd out about obscure collectible stuff. I love music, and I just when I go like especially I love series, right? So I
Hmm.
love boss fight books. I love 33 and a third. I love uniformity. So like we talk about NES black box. Like
Oh
how
yeah.
cool is that, right? You got a set. Here's like the Koei Red Box set, the first games that they released on Japanese computers before Nobunaga's Ambition, 1981 to 1983.
wow.
It's a
So
discrete set.
are they a specific computer therefore, or did they cross computers, or they just
Yeah, so that's what's really interesting about Koei is they built $1 billion company by being cross-platform right away.
okay?
Wow.
So when you like sometimes the games are quite different. So
Sure.
say Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2, for example, is totally different on NES versus Genesis versus Super Nintendo. They
Hmm.
look the same, and anyone's like, that's a boring spreadsheet game, would never discern that there's a difference between it, but in the gameplay, they're
Big
quite
difference.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
the way they feel. Um, so yeah, like this one, like you got this one's FM7, FM8. This one's PC 8801. This one's PC 8001. Yeah, so it's quite a range.
So they did right out of the gate when cross-platform, cross-computer platform. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
So
Anyways, that's
that's
sort of
Koei. Okay.
my long ramble about it. There's my intro, but
Okay. So
yeah.
so for people who are not informed, and I'm one of those, what is the very first Koei video game?
Aha. So
What is this game?
they
And
released two at first, and you'll have to forgive me because my Japanese is quite poor,
not as
which
bad as mine. So
kind of makes it a difficult proposition. And that one's combat. This one's investment game. Well, it's one of these. Let's see. So, um, in my Airtable, like I constantly have to refer back to them. So, like
that's
this
okay.
one is. So they released two at first.
And this was
Um,
basically released out of their home.
yeah, they made them all themselves, like recorded the tapes themselves, printed them themselves. People
Wow.
actually had to, they only advertised in Japanese magazines, and then they did print ads at the back, and then people would mail in their yen, right? So this one was 3,500 yen, and this one was 5,000 yen. So they're sending $50, $35 in the mail, right? Here you go. And then basically the CEO who just stepped down, he's the CEO still,
Wow.
right?
Hmm.
Um, is the guy who programmed their first games. So the first one, I think they had a partner for the second one, but so one is the Battle of Kawanakajima, which is yeah this one, which is also in that sort of Nobunaga's ambition era.
Okay.
So Sengoku era Japan, so feudal Japan, and then this one is investment game because famously his wife is sort of referred to as the Dragon Lady. She's the co-founder, so it's the husband and wife duo. And he's basically the creative genius, and she is the business tycoon. So she worked in the fashion industry, and a lot of their pricing, even if you see today, that Koei really charges. They rarely discount. They charge a lot. People are like, why are they charging so much?
Well,
It's because that's how they built their empire.
sure,
But
sure.
yeah, investor game.
That's interesting to think about because even that whole concept of the value of their game, right? It
Yep,
spilled over into the secondary market for
yep,
even us, you North American, I should say, not US, but North American Nintendo collectors, because the Koei games were always the expensive games and
yeah.
some of the hardest ones to get. And I don't want to say hard, but they were expensive.
Mm-hmm,
Uncharted Waters, Gemfire, all this
mm-hmm,
crap that I could care less about playing.
mm-hmm,
Nobunaga's Ambition too, hard game to find on the NES,
mm-hmm,
but expensive,
mm-hmm,
have always been around the same price, I feel like.
mm-hmm,
Haven't really fluctuated in value since I
mm-hmm,
started collecting. Back in 2000, that was
mm-hmm.
it. They were expensive games back then.
Yeah, and that's her. This is all the Dragon Lady, the wife, Keiko. Keiko is actually on the board of directors of SoftBank. Like they're a billion. They're one of the richest couples in Japan. If you go look up richest couples in Japan, the Koei
Interesting.
founders are there.
Wow.
And so she actually sold her stock in Nintendo to fund Koei. So
Mm,
this was prior to the Famicom, by the way. So they
wow.
sold that in 1980 or 19, yeah, I think it was 1980. She bought a computer for her husband because he decided to get into software. He started with making software for like non-gaming. So let me
Hmm.
just see if I could find one. I think I got one down here somewhere. Oh yeah, here's one. See, this is cool. I think this is one of their word processors that I picked up. And it's got like somebody's handwritten Japanese instructions in there, which is just super cool. Paid way too much for that. Um,
Koei word processor. That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah. Well, there's a keynote in the 90s where Steve Jobs introduces Yuichi, who's the CEO, the guy,
Hmm.
to talk about their word processor because they actually released a word processor for the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn that hooked up to a printer, and then they released their own dongle for it. So there's a Koei dongle to hook up to a Canon or Lexmark printer to
Hmm.
print from the Saturn or the PlayStation 1 to a laser printer for some reason, so that you can use their weird egg word um, kanji processor.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Huh.
To me, it's just kind of interesting that there's this company that's like hiring the Star Wars art dude, right? Hiring these like famous musicians to do composition. Billion-dollar company today, and nobody in North America cares about them. All they think is, oh, they're like EA. They just put out a here's the next Warriors game, right? Like even to me, it's kind of dull. My eyes gloss over if I think about Warriors, right? And I'm like, okay, another Dynasty Warriors, another Samurai Warriors,
Hmm.
because there's so many of them. How do you
Sure.
discern, right? Um, but yeah,
Yeah, those games are pretty cool though, actually. So
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. I mean, I think one thing you had mentioned a few podcasts ago was like that after they bought Tecmo, they, corrected Koei Tecmo and got them onto making good games finally. But actually, that's incorrect because Omega Force was basically meant to be like the last division within Koei. Um,
Okay.
so they actually started Dynasty Warriors before Dynasty Warriors was going, long before they acquired Tecmo.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually. Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Huh.
So there's my
So is
errata
it,
for the, five people who remember you saying that.
yeah, no, that's okay. I appreciate that. The it's Koei Tecmo? Is it Tecmo Koei? What is
So
the
it's been both. And so if you're a variant nerd, good luck because
okay?
there's this DS game called Again, and it's got Tecmo NKT on it. Some
Mhm.
have Tecmo Koei because at the beginning I think they were trying to make Tecmo feel welcome because Square Enix had just bought Taito,
Yeah,
right? So basically, you had like Enix and Square merge, they buy out Taito, and then they were trying to do a hostile takeover of Tecmo. And I don't think the Tecmo founders liked that very much. And so I think Koei came in and went, "Hey, we've known each other. Our families know each other for years because they're both family-run companies in Japan, right?"
Hmm.
right.
Um, Again, this is me just trying to put this together via like it's a hard puzzle, and I think that's also what's kind of appealing about the project is trying to figure out. Like my end game is I would love to make a document. I want to make artifacts out of it, so it's not just me pursuing this for no good reason, taking up space just to I don't know, buy a bunch of Koei stuff for myself. Like, yeah, that's cool, but it'd be nicer to be like, here's the coffee table book. You want to see every
Yeah,
weird Koei obscurity in one place? Here you
absolutely.
go, right?
Yeah.
And so my other plan is I'm actually going to make a video game. There's no documentary video games, and I love documentaries. I'm a huge documentary nerd, right? Um, I actually started with these guys. Um,
When did
it
Koei?
started with this book, this Beatles book, and it's just basically a book of dates. This is how I like to think, right? It's like date, date, date. Here's what the Beatles were doing on this day, on this day, on this day. It's a level of nerdery that no one thinks like, but I do. I love that kind of chronology log of this came out, this came out. So I couldn't find a list of all the Koei stuff together. So I've been trying to make, okay, when did this come out? Trying to find release dates, put it together, and yeah, it's been a bit of a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a daunting task,
Mhm.
actually. You can barely do it on North American released NES games. I can't imagine
Yeah.
going deep like
Yeah. I
that.
mean, luckily it's been small enough. Like I think there's probably around 700. Let's just see how many games.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Oh, no, no. Okay. Maybe I'm lying. Let me just make sure I'm not filtering.
So Koei's made 700
Sorry.
games.
617 I have in my database right now.
Does that
Um,
include word processor?
Wow.
no, no. So,
Okay.
um, I mean, I don't mind showing you. I'm a big Airtable nerd, so I do everything in Airtable. I
Okay.
build a database. Anytime I'm trying to think something out. So I have a separate like table for games versus software versus audio.
Dongles. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's crazy stuff like Koei released Bob Marley audio CDs of concerts. Bet you didn't know that. There's a whole catalog of Koei music CDs in Japan. And
Hmm.
so, as this former music critic that I am, which I used to do music journalism, that's actually how I got my job at Disney. Because it's like, oh, okay, well, you know how to write. Cool. Why don't we do that? Um, but that's why I started with the Koei thing because somewhere along the ways, I was trying to find the Romance of the Three Kingdoms soundtrack, and then I just was like, well, I wonder if there's anything in Japan. I looked and I'm like, wait a second, there's an arranged CD. They released a CD of the soundtrack of this game. And I was like, wait, and then I kept digging and I'm like, wait a second, they released a board game of this game? What? Okay, I need to know more here. And it's just on obscure Japanese forums where I'm have to use like Chrome Translate to figure stuff out. Like it's just been such a daunting dig through task to do it. Anyways, that's
Wow.
what I've been doing. So I've spent probably 6 years on this. This is what the Collector Quest board game became. All my
Okay.
original, I'll show you my card art sometime, but like I designed a bunch of cards and they were all with Koei art. So it
That's
just
cool.
evolved and I was like, well, it's kind of weird to use Johnny's podcast's name after I found like, oh, there's something else called Collector's Quest. Guess it can't be that anymore. Um,
Could be
yeah.
Koei Quest.
Yeah. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a cool thing. I got lots of cool stuff. I love this. I don't know if you love details, but
I do.
each of the original stuff that they homebrewed, like essentially they printed themselves as printed
Hmm.
all the games themselves. They printed it on like rice paper. I don't know if you can kind of
Nice.
hear
Yeah,
how
yeah.
thin
I know
this
what
is,
you're
but
talking about.
like it's bonkers. Like as you can see through it,
Hmm.
it's just wild. So these are the instruction manuals for these old these old games. They're on
Talk
this
about
kind of
condition sensitive there.
Right?
yeah,
Imagine.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then like if you're looking for details, like let's see if I can find an example. All these have it. But yeah, okay. So I'll pick these two. Um, they weren't necessarily consistent. I'll take these three. So they weren't necessarily consistent, right? So they weren't always clear. Sometimes the cassette tapes were black. And you can tell if it's the original case or not because they also put like a little seal label on it. So it's this
Oh, hell
circle
yeah.
seal.
Look at
And
that.
then, so you see in this one, it's got it. And I can see that it's worn off on the front, but it's on the spine.
Hmm.
And I can see on this one, it's got both sides. So there's this side. I'm sorry if this doesn't come through. I'll
No, yeah,
send
I can
Yeah,
see
I
it.
can see
pictures
it.
later. And then here's the top of it. So it's kind of this circle top, square bottom. I don't know what you call that shape. What do you call that? Square at the bottom,
Circle
circle at the
talks,
top.
whatever. Yeah, it's not a shape, I don't think. Well, it's a
Yeah.
shape, right? But
So
so
that's how, so this one is obviously in a new case,
yeah,
right?
no case swaps for me, man. I want that original crap.
Yeah.
You know what
So like,
drives me nuts on that is when you like you get a like a more of a modern game, like a PS1 game that has a unique sticker on it, like an NHL or an NBA sticker, and everything's just perfect. But then the case has a huge crack in the front or something like that. That makes me nuts.
yeah, you're gonna hate this. I've tried, I've tried. I don't know what substance they used, but look at the front of this thing. Somebody
Oh,
wrote 1,000 yen on the front, I guess. And I
Yeah.
can't get it off for the life of me. I've tried the dry erase technique where you've done that where you like use dry erase over
Yeah, yeah.
Sharpie and
What
it picks it
it's
up.
not Sharpie, I
I don't know
imagine.
what it is. It's some sort of like unique Japanese substance they extracted from the ocean or something. I have no
It's
idea.
like squid and nail polish.
Yeah, something like that, but
Oh.
can't get it off and it drives me nuts because it's got the freaking seal. If you want to get triggered, there, that'll trigger you.
yeah.
Anyways, I digress.
Just go find another one.
Yeah. Well, so that's the crazy thing. Like some of this stuff, I literally found the one I have in my hand is the only auction ever in 6 years of
Yeah,
it. Like
yeah.
it's that kind of level of stupidity. Like of me at least once a week, sometimes three, sometimes 5 days a week, trolling through Japanese auction sites looking for this garbage. And actually, I can show you in my Airtable. I basically have it programmed. I have buttons. So I can just click and go search Yahoo auctions. Like
Oh
I can
wow.
just go click search Yahoo auctions in the computer category. Click. So I can search for specific titles in the list
Hmm.
on like Surugaya or Zen Market or whatever.
And
Is
they still
isn't
do
it?
things through Yahoo
Yep.
Market?
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
that's their marketplace, man. Other than Macari in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
Yahoo auctions.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Isn't that just the most satisfying feeling in the world when you have a search and it hits and it has never hit? Like,
Yeah.
and it's also equally one of the most devastating feelings when it hits and you miss the item.
I have lost many auctions. Tyler told me I'm not using enough FU bids, so I listened
Oh,
to
you
his
have to.
sage-like advice. Well, these are like okay, it doesn't look like much, but there's $500, right?
Yeah, no,
That's
Wow.
I get it.
like,
Matt's seen Matt and has done it to me and vice versa, but we've screenshotted our FU bids. Like,
hmm
man, glad I got this for $84 and not 870.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
I find it hard when I get into that point. I'm like, justifying it, just I don't know. It's not what I love to do. But when it
just
happens, I
hit me up
have
on
to.
Discord or Matt and say
hmm
you need some reassurance, and the answer will just be our reassurance that it's a good idea. Put in a
Thank you.
top bid.
I
So
appreciate you enabling me and giving me the moral support that is much appreciated.
Or you can live with the regret of not bidding on it like I did a couple months ago, and I'm still kind of kicking myself on something that popped on a saved search that I haven't seen in years. And I'm like,
Mm.
it was a high price, but I'm just like, ugh. Yeah,
Sometimes when you get into this sort of stuff though, Chris, you get to this point where I always like to live by this kind of philosophy is like I can always get that again. Like
Mhm.
regular NES, North American games, no problem. I can pick those up.
Yeah.
But when there's the unique items that you just don't see, you just kind of have to
Yeah.
do it
Yeah. And
and figure
that's
shit
what
out.
this has totally been like that. It's just literally there's a copy, get it. Like I lost one. There's a game called Corridor. I lost that one recently, and that hurt. Because the thing is, I am actually competing. It's not like, oh, there's no bidders. One came up, just buy it. It's not usually like that. There's usually 30 other Japanese bidders. Because let's be honest, I don't think I'm competing against any of the folks that are trying to bring in their, giant junk lots to a show to sell, right? Like
Sure.
that's not my competition. My competition is the Japanese local audience.
wow.
Yeah. It's the crazy collectors that live there that we know nothing about
Yeah.
that
And that's
love.
what I love is like I love the idea of like, oh, I wonder what it's like. Like
This
there's
language barrier is killing us, man.
yeah.
With man, if the
They
Japanese people only knew.
Koei really has 617 games?
Matt's still there.
Yeah,
That's
617.
that is insane that a company has created that many games.
Well, what's crazy if you get into variants, because some of them, like, because this is the thing, they also got into music publishing, right? So there is, like, when it came out, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2 on Famicom was the most expensive Famicom game ever released. And they did a deluxe edition. So
I
they were
mean,
doing deluxe editions in the
Ooh.
80s. So the deluxe edition I couldn't find. It was only one auction and it was $21,000. I was
Oh,
like, I just no way.
oh.
Um, and so luckily one came up and I think it was like I think it was about 300 I got it for. But it's basically Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Yeah, so quite a discount, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But it's basically the game with the CD soundtrack. So
Okay.
and I think a lot of folks may have parceled out the soundtrack out of the with soundware editions. I don't know if I have any handy.
Hmm.
So what do you know the
Um,
price of that when they released it for Famicom? Like you say it was like the most
yeah,
expensive. What was it when it was released in what, 1980, what, four?
yeah. Some of them were like, it was like whatever, 15,000 yen. 17,000 yen. Like they were
Yes.
expensive.
Hmm.
Let me translate that.
Yeah. Like if you do the money for real world money, they were expensive. Like we're talking Mario Kart World stuff, right?
Like
Like it was not.
$80 for a game.
Yeah, and it was because like again, the wife was like, we should charge a
100,
premium. Like
105.
most,
Like she saw her
yeah,
husband's creative genius going, your shit doesn't stink, Bowie. You better
Mm-hmm.
sell that for a lot.
105, give or take, was what that would have
yeah,
been.
yeah,
Yeah.
at the time, which is pretty high. Like
That's insane.
if you correct for like of inflation, pretty high.
But
I mean,
their market wasn't it was Japanese businessmen, right? Buying that
yeah,
shit.
yeah. Yeah, so originally, like, I guess so they had the two games they released, and the one game was a massive hit, and they sold like 10,000 units
Hmm.
out of their house. Can you imagine? You're a homebrew dev, and you're like, hey,
That's
my NES game.
insane.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna mail out these cassettes. Get the duplicator running, boys. Let's go. Um, yeah. But yeah,
Wow.
some of them are really cool because like later on they started putting them in outer cardboard.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
and then there's multiple editions of these. Like this was a bitch to find. I couldn't even find a good image of it. This is one of the first role-playing games in Japan. So famously, Koei released, I can't get that one. It's in the Redbox edition, but there was a Redbox game called Underground Exploration. Like a lot of these games have really generic titles. Combat, good luck. Hokkaido War, good luck. Right? Think about like how generic that is, and good luck finding it. This one is Sword and Sorcery, I guess. But this is one of their early role-playing games. I think this one was what was this? I mean, if you want, you feel free to you can
The names of
show
their
the
games
Airtable or
were
whatever.
You want me to?
actually
I can share the
names of
air. I
genres.
can share the air table here.
Yeah, if you want. So this one's Sword and Magic. I've got it tagged as. So you'll see at the top, like what I've done in Airtable is kind of tag them all. So it's like you see, I group them first by year, just in case I can't actually find the release date. And then
Oh
I'll
God.
tag which platform each one was released on, who the developer was, who the publisher was,
The
because I've got
FM7. Mhm.
Tecmo and Koei in here. And I actually have shared this Airtable, by the way, with the CEO. So I actually had an opportunity to send him a letter with one of my work colleagues
Shrink
who was
us.
going to be meeting with him in Japan at a business dinner. And so I wrote him a nice letter and included a link to this Airtable. He's like, "What? Somebody in North America is interested in that? What, that one? We were drunk when we made that." So
Das Boot. Oh
I'm
Yeah,
my.
like,
that's what I noticed too right away.
yeah, and so you'll notice a lot of these like Combat and Das Boot. Like Combat is actually based on Sergeant Sanders, which is a
Uh-huh.
popular like TV or movie around the same time. So they were based on sort of popular American stuff. And there's no graphics to speak of, but Underground Exploration is the one that I don't have yet that I really want, because it's arguably one of the first Japanese role-playing games.
Hmm.
Um, long predating Square
Hmm.
Enix. Um, but yeah, so
Yeah.
that one's sword and
Suck
sword.
at
I was
Square
glad to get
Enix.
this one. I got, yeah, there you go.
Wow, so there's seven Redbox games. Is that my?
Hmm.
So that's the original
That
black
I'm
box.
aware of. Yeah.
Okay. And then they switched to these golden and silver and
Yeah, so that pack, I've got one of them so far. Those were like their minigame collections. Like they put out these sort of like 11 games in one, like their budget stuff, like you can see.
Mhm.
I
It's
don't
like
think
the
the view.
Saturn 4-to-1 packs is what it is. Basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Super cartridges.
and
And I've actually,
were these still on tape?
yeah. So
So
this is a cassette.
how do
So
you, I've never understood how you play a cassette
Well,
tape.
you load it in
Ah,
memory.
I see it
So just like the,
loads.
the C64 or the Atari
Okay.
8-bit shit. So
So it loads off the cassette onto the computer and then you got it,
you
got it.
play it. Yeah.
it's almost like Morse code, right? So if you play it in the cassette player, it'll be like, but it's if you really slow it down in the waveform, you basically have on and off. It's zeros and ones, right?
Got it.
Um, so that's what is essentially getting it loaded into memory is a bunch of zeros
Ooh,
and ones.
nightlife.
Yeah,
Okay,
nightlife. Well, I'm
so
collecting Koei.
so I've got a Nightlife was a bitch to find. I'll be honest. Tyler picked up. He lucked out on a Surugaya auction. He got a better copy than me. Here's my copy.
Yeah, let me
Um,
stop
there
sharing.
are variants of this that I talked to the Japanese Game Preservation Society.
Hmm.
It's run by a Dutch guy who lives in Japan, and he's working with official
Yeah.
Japanese groups to do it legitimately, right? And what he shared with me is he believes that this one, so this is not actually like some porno game, by the way. I think that's the North American perspective would be like, oh, they made porno games, ha ha ha.
Sure.
But actually, it's sort of more like a couple's Karma Sutra. It's meant to be a pregnancy, like it's a certain method. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like you do this rhythm after a certain number of days is meant to calculate using this rhythm period after like a woman has had their period about this long after. And if you do these poses, then you're more likely to get pregnant. I don't know. The name Koei, actually, by the way, for them came from going to a fortune teller. So that gives you a bit of the horoscope background. Like if you look at the Koei buildings in Japan, they've got a bunch of like horoscopes up on the sides.
Oh
You
yeah.
can see that they're into horoscopes and that stuff. But
Hmm.
this was a hit, of course, because it was like, ooh, saucy. That
Yeah.
sounds fun. So then they made more like they made two parodies. So this one is Seduction of Condominium Wives, where you play as a condom salesman who's going around an apartment building, convincing women to buy condoms by demonstrating them, which is pretty funny. So that's probably my assumption is this is the get drunk, make a game. Um, but it obviously won awards. It's got a gold label. This is a gold label edition.
Like Leisure Suit Larry, like something like that.
Yeah. But this is like 1983, 1984. Yeah,
Wow.
1983. Um, and
The
then they
cotton
made another
salesman.
one. The one that was the absolute bitch to find. I don't have it here right now because I've got a bunch of stuff downstairs in storage and up here, but I can share a picture with you guys after. But it's the what's it called? It's Do Dutch Wives Dream of Electric Eel, which is a parody of Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream
Dream
of
of
Electric
electric.
Sheep.
Yep.
Yeah. So apparently in Japan, Dutch wives means a blow-up doll, like a blow-up sex doll. So basically, that game has the best premise ever. It's a bunch of sentient sex dolls are taking over Japan, and you need to stop them from conquering the country. Um, so yeah, there's that one. That's pretty
Do
interesting.
Dutch wives
That
dream of what? What is it?
Electric eel.
Wow. Of electric.
I know. So there you go. Like to me, I'm like, this is too interesting. $1 billion company, bunch of hidden history. This is interesting. Let's unpack that. I mean, obviously everyone's already well plumbed Square Enix, right? Like
hmm
Chris Kohler is working on his Square Enix book, right? So I see this as like I'm working on the Koei book that could be like the collector's view of Koei. Here's all this weird, obscure stuff they've made. Um, yeah. Anyways, there's a bunch of stuff in here. Dragon and Princess, that's one that gets cited a lot as
Yeah.
one of the
It is.
first JRPGs. That was 1983 as well. But these are the ones that came basically just before Nobunaga's Ambition. As soon as Nobunaga comes out, it sells like hotcakes, and that's the that's the strategy for the company. Um, so yeah,
Hmm.
I actually don't have a lot of warriors and more modern stuff yet because I just don't really find it as interesting, to be honest. I'm more interested in the prior history, right? So, um,
there's the
I think it's
dragon.
great. Yeah.
Yeah,
mhm,
this is awesome.
mhm,
Putting this together, makes it very digestible
mhm.
for people to want to look for this stuff.
Yep.
And I think that we get hung up as collectors a lot where
Mhm.
where the information doesn't exist and we just kind of have to go off into the void of our own minds and try to figure shit out for ourselves. And it's
Yeah.
really daunting at times.
But
So,
sometimes people figure it out for themselves, but they just kind of keep mental
oh,
lists. They don't go to the extent of doing a database like this,
they
right?
don't. Well, it's one, you kind of need to know how to do that. There it is. Look at that cover.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there it is.
Uh,
Hmm.
there's a
Yeah,
lot that I can't imagine how much time you've put into this, Chris.
I've
But
been
it's
chipping away at it very, very slowly, right? Like, here's all the things they've done. Here's like, for example, actually that journey of love in the middle, like that one's hilarious. Like, if you open it up, so that's I think you're playing as Jesus or something like that, and it's like the story of like Christ saving people. Because, anyways, I think what they did was there was this bandwagon thing that happened in the 80s with Japanese companies where they didn't have enough bandwidth to make all the games themselves. And that's when they
Mhm.
started to do these like, oh, submit your game and maybe we'll publish it. And so they started just taking on stuff, right? So famously, Enix didn't make any of its own games originally. It was all like people submitting stuff from magazines, right? Like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
you want games? Here, I'll pitch it to you. So Koei in the 80s made this imprint called Comics. And so Jailus and Journey of Love and some of the other ones, it was very small time. Um, and it was really only a handful of titles, but they released a set of these. Like, I'm pretty sure they didn't make them in-house. Pretty sure these were submitted in based on some of the content.
So
Um,
they were acting solely as publisher at that
yep,
point.
yep. So
Oh,
comics was this imprint for like weird stuff. Like the only one I have is Cooking Curry. Um, but yeah, I just lost Corridor. I want to get Rolling Papers so bad. Scroll down there.
That
Yeah, like Rolling Papers. Like it's just batshit crazy. Yeah.
This
Anyways,
stoner game. I'm just
totally, totally.
look at that thing.
Yeah. And I just love this stuff. I love weird, obscure moments in history.
That's really cool. I mean,
I had no idea this
I
existed.
didn't think I didn't understand the stuff like this really existed in Japanese games. I like what you're talking about up
Mhm,
there. I always end up with these weird Commodore games. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like,
mhm,
or yeah, old computer stuff that I've never seen a copy of, and I absolutely love that stuff.
mhm. Yeah, and maybe it's just my Commodore influence, right? Like where I
There
see
you
this
go.
and I'm
Yeah,
like, I loved the C64. I think it's still a system I love.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Wow. This is
This is impressive.
this is just nuts.
It's been fun. Like and I'm hoping that, by the time I sort of finish up, like I think I have an ending now. Like I now have a beginning and an end, because it's founded by the couple, and Yuichi just this year announced that he's stepping away from the CEO position. So I think he's still going to be chairman, but yeah, because of that, I'm like, perfect. There's my bookends. They just released, Dynasty Warriors Origins. It's kind of going back to its roots and then pushing them forward. He's stepping down. It's kind of a perfect time for it.
Yeah.
But oh, Progenitor, I want this. Oh man, it took me so long to get this. I think I finally got a copy. I think I've got that somewhere. But
Oh,
that's
stop
another.
that roach. That's like
Yes.
not your typical Koei game.
So Stop That Roach, interestingly, was originally released on PCs, called
Okay.
Hoi Hoi. So that came out in like 10 years earlier. So if you scroll up, Stop
Oh,
That
and then
Roach
they're
is
like, hey,
actually
let's
a
make this into a
remake.
Game Boy game.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so go up, 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 like way up. 1982. So you're in the 90s right now, so you got to go all the way up. And then it's like around 83, and you'll see a roach. It's called Hoi Hoi. There, right there, next to Dragon and Princess. So that one with the weird eyeballs, that is Stop That Roach originally.
Ah, very
Uh,
cool.
So Stop That Roach that that's really rare on the Game Boy is
Hmm.
actually a remake, believe it or not. Nobody
Wow.
knows that. 1982, it's 10 years prior.
I
Um,
love that. That's so cool.
and the one that's like, there's so many interesting ones. Like if you scroll up some of the covers here, I just got to show you like Progenitor's cool.
How far do you want me to go?
Oh yeah, no, this is good. Just stay around here because now you're seeing all the Noriyoshi Orai. And actually, on that Uncharted Waters, if you just open that for a sec, um, and then go to some of these covers. So see how there's like two covers at the top, and you can use your arrows to go left and right to scroll through them. So you know that cover, obviously. So here's the Japanese cover, right, for the typical edition. And if you keep going through these other versions, check out this one. See the top right? There's that extra kanji at the top.
Hmm. Hmm.
Apologies if it's hiragana or katakana. My Japanese is poor. I'm not Chris Kohler. I need to learn. What that says is with soundware.
Ah,
Okay.
So those are the deluxe editions that are more expensive. You can see on this one, the price is right in the middle. This is 12,200 yen. So when this came out, this was the deluxe edition. And if you go to the other ones, you'll see it should have the yen. Okay, so there's the regular edition is 9,800. So you can
Okay.
see they marked it up and included a CD. I think that was about it. I don't recall. I have to look in detail if the manuals were different or anything like that, but
That's interesting. So,
they also did this on Famicom. So there's Famicom like variants. So there's two editions of a lot of these games, like PTO, Nobunaga's Ambition, L'Empereur. Um, a Nindo was a bitch to find it, but I finally found it. It's got a red box instead of there's a red box and a purple box. So I got the purple with soundware version for
um,
FM Towns. I was quite happy to find that. I don't think I have it
this
there,
just
but
makes me want to give up video game collecting.
it's pretty daunting. Yeah. This is why I've kind of stuck to like one of each, unless it's like one I love. I'm like,
Oh my
whatever, I got
God.
a copy. I am not being conditioned. Okay, Bancoon, there's a great one. Early like music game, 1991. There was two that they did. They did this one and Life is Music. Life is Music is famous because it's got, Yoichi was actually a jazz musician, the CEO,
Mhm.
and he composed music for this one. So there you go.
This is
That's amazing.
this is such a random segment that I never would have considered, and I had no idea. You could,
That's
that's
that's what that
insane. You could base your whole collection off of one company that made games, and
yeah.
and and
Because
never,
most people don't think like this. Most people go, I need to collect Atari, right?
yeah.
They think in like verticals. I think in horizontals, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So like I'm thinking across collections going, I think that's more interesting today. Like I think
Yeah.
more people need to find these horizontal collections. Like look at Dante's Odyssey, Gate of Souls there on the left. Like that cover is so metal. Like look at that badass cover. I love the cover designs for some of these games. I'm like I want this just as a piece of art. And I want to make sure that I can put it in a coffee table book and show people that these guys put out some cool covers.
And it's just insane because it makes me think about, we get stuck with like one system, but we don't think of, PC versus, in this case, Nintendo, Super Nintendo
Mhm.
versus whatever else it was on, and the fact that they, like you said earlier, that they're all different on some
Mhm.
level. And that makes sense because like, growing up, you could play on like the Amiga a game and it's going to be way better than if you played it on, say, Nintendo, and then it's going to still
Mhm.
be different compared to like if you played it at the arcade. It's
Mhm.
just, ah, just
Totally.
opens
Yeah,
my
except
mind.
Kicks on the 5200 is still the best version of Kicks.
Oh,
So,
I'm really partial to Super Quicks on arcade.
yeah, that's good. That's good.
We used to play it on like a one of those like cocktail table style.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so
Super
nice.
Kicks.
Hmm.
You know that that game is the only other video game that has a math equation. I can't I don't remember the proper terminology, but there is no solution to the game. Kind of like Tetris. There's
I
no
love
real
that.
solution to figuring it out. And that is the only other video game that exists like that is Kicks. So
Josh,
That's
did
so good.
wasn't this in your PC pickup? Didn't they have a
no,
Liberty
I
of?
didn't have any Liberty of Death or Death. Um, I didn't get any Koei games. So tell me about Aerobiz, the Aerobiz games. What those are?
Ah, yeah.
So what is
So
this series under? This is like a
so each of the yeah, that's the cool thing is like this. So the CEO when they first launched, he created a pseudonym called Ku Shibusawa. So if you ever boot up Nobunaga's Ambition 2 for NES, it'd
Mhm.
be like Ku Shibusawa from their historical simulation series. And then Aerobiz, you boot it up and it's like from their business simulation
Yes,
series.
that's what I'm talking about. So
Hmm.
okay.
So that traces its lineages back to investment game, right?
And okay, so like
So
Ah,
you got to
it's
see
like
it
the
as two
business
tracks.
version of
She is
Kit.
interested in business. That's her story. She loves fashion, business, and feminism, actually, right?
Okay.
So they were famously one of the first companies to make games for girls, specifically an all-female team for a female target audience.
Hmm.
Um, so there's all these kind of lineages that I want to trace in the book and make a visual of.
Yeah.
So I want to show that investment game leads to top management, which leads to Aerobiz. So if you scroll
wow.
up a bit, I
What,
think some of those you've passed.
where do you want me to go to?
Okay, so even their top management, that is a bundle that's more of a software version. So that one's, I'm not sure if it's game or software yet. If you go a little bit up further, there are some precursors to that one. Up one. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, no, it's down. I'm sorry. But anyways, there's a series called Top Management. So Top Management did not come out here, and then Leading Company also did not come out here. So those are part of that Aerobiz series. For
Okay.
some
So
reason,
those
I
are like
think,
the first to the Aerobiz
yeah.
series.
So what
Okay.
happened is like Koei went public on the IPO. I think it was 91, 90, somewhere around there. So you'll see Leading Company, which by the way, if you're into jazz, that has a baller soundtrack.
Okay.
On Discogs, that soundtrack is sought after. It's called Keys to the City. There's a specific CD. I'll have
Mhm.
to send you guys links to the music, but it's
Mm.
basically some really great jazz musicians played a bunch of tracks, composed a bunch of stuff, and then they made the chiptune music for that Super Famicom game from that.
Hmm.
Wow.
And that's part of that Aerobiz lineage. But
You're
yeah, it
selling
was,
me. You're selling me on this pretty
This is
good.
awesome.
So the Aerobus Supersonic artwork is it unique to the
yeah,
US?
it's different on. Let's see if I got it in my Super
Because
Famicom. I'll pull it up.
because Mark Erickson did this cover in the US.
Oh, that's good to know, actually. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Um,
That's the best
and
one.
I'm what do you know what the Japanese?
Yeah, I'm just looking for it. I've got it somewhere here. Just got to pull out my Super Famicom to get it.
Lead your airline. I don't know if I've ever played Aerobiz.
It's actually an interesting game, but
Um, yeah, there we go. So here is Aerobiz 1. So it's actually called Air Management in
air
Japan.
management. Okay.
So
That's
this is Air
interesting.
Management 1. Actually, on that list, if you scroll further, they remade it as Air Management 96 on the PlayStation, believe it or not. So
Ooh,
there's a whole bunch of weird stuff like that. Like Bandit Kings of Ancient China has a sequel. Bet you didn't know that.
I didn't.
Um, Again, most of the stuff people don't care about. Emit is super cool. So Emit is a three-parter. It's time spelled backwards, and it's actually all in English, by the way, because
Hmm.
it's meant as a tutorial CD-ROM to teach Japanese people how to read English or how to
Oh,
speak English. Now, the
oh,
cool thing is, it's a big box Super Famicom, so it's actually, I don't know where the hell I put it. So I'm sorry that I didn't have that one out.
it's okay.
This came
Um,
out on 3DO.
but it comes with a dongle for the Super Famicom that is designed to sync to a separate CD player. So it comes with the cartridge, a CD-ROM with the audio, and then a dongle that you plug into a controller port, which synchronizes the Super Famicom to a CD-ROM or a CD, no, CD audio. So you're playing the CD audio and it detects it using infrared. I think it's like an IR reader or something like that.
Jeez.
But it's and they released it as a standalone as well. So I've got two of the standalones sitting around somewhere. But I've also got the Emit pack. There's a really rare version that was going up. A bunch of people were bidding on it. That was like a sealed three pack for Saturn version of Emit 1 through 3. Yeah, anyways,
Wow.
Angelique is the historic first because that is like the first, I can't remember what they call it, but it's Otome. So Otome is like basically romance games. So this is literally romance, not Romance of the Three Kingdoms. This is for girls with a bunch of dreamy boys. And then basically their daughter, they hired to head up this new division called Ruby Party. Now, Ruby Party, you may know from the recent games like Fairy Tail, Fairy Tail 2 is all by Ruby Party within Koei.
Hmm.
That started here in the 90s.
And this is
This
it.
this series, Angelique, is huge in Japan. I actually have like a set of Angelique forks and spoons on their way. I've got a
What?
music box that came with a deluxe edition of one of the Angelique games. Like there is so much ephemera around Koei because again, they wanted maximum profit. So there's CDs, there's like CDs of Bob Marley, there's bootlegs, there's soundtracks for all these things, right? There's
Oh,
These guys are like the goddamn silent Disney of Japan.
here's the
yeah.
value pack.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
so
there's the pack. So I've got that one. That's the PlayStation 3 pack, but it's opened. I found some beater copy of it just to have it.
that's okay. Okay. Um,
Good grief.
where does I'm just thinking about different code games. Where does a game like Winning Post, where does that fall within
Oh, dear Lord. Have you seen my rants about winning post?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
I so
so
let's
what you
hear
can
it.
do in the top left, there's a filter, Josh, or sorry, Matt. Matt, you're driving, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's
So if
driving.
you click Matt, filter, sorry, go add condition, and then go game contain. I think they switched to like, yeah, game is the game name. So just type winning post in the enter a value section. This is interactive, so it's a fully working kind of like thing. Okay, so there you go. So we've done that. So now you can go look at the results. Now, this is not complete, I'm afraid. So I might my quote on 600 games may be wrong.
Oh fuck.
This
Oh,
Josh, this hurts me. Because if you scroll down to some of these, like I've tried to normalize some of them, but you've got like winning post 7 versus winning post 7 maximum 2007 versus winning post 7 maximum 2010, winning post world, winning post 6, and I've been like, oh my God, you're killing me. Mobile games, this is a web game, so they did a whole bunch of web games that I've
Oh
tried
my
to put in
God.
here as well.
what is
No,
it?
that's good. That's good. That stuff is so lost to everything.
Is this horse
Oh
racing?
man.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so it's basically
It's betting on
betting
horses.
on horses. So the
It's
closest equivalent
fucking
would be
cool.
like if you're playing um, the cult classic Football Manager, right? Or
Hmm.
Premier
Yeah.
League Manager, like those games where you're not playing the sports game. It's like a meta around the sports game.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
it's it's an interesting game actually.
Hmm.
The I have the Saturn version and I was like,
Hmm.
this is kind of neat.
Hmm.
So,
this is good.
um,
But man, and the covers are hideous. Like it's just it pains me to look at like that or Warriors, like, and then of course they get into stuff like, professional services. Like one of my favorite game is like they're doing service work, right? So they did like a bunch of Dragon Quest games. They did Metroid. Like there's a bunch of Koei made like games for other studios because they had
hmm.
a long running relationship with Nintendo, long running relationship and rivalry with Square Enix.
What about Bandai? Didn't they work with Bandai too?
Yeah, because they've got like a One Piece Warriors.
Mhm.
What else did they do with Bandai? Oh, Gundam. That was
The
I think
Gundam
so.
stuff.
So the
Yeah,
Gundam one was the first time they did a crossover.
that's right. That
Yeah.
fuck those games.
Man, there's a lot of these games. Holy
Oh,
crap.
so literally, just you got to put in your mind if you're thinking Warriors, just think EA. It's EA Sports. It's like just it's time. It's Madden time, baby. Like we're gonna look
Wow.
through zillions and zillions. This is why I haven't gone deep on collecting
Oh,
some of this stuff because
Hyrule
there's
Warriors. There you go.
right?
Right?
And the newest Hyrule Warriors, which I guess is the fourth one, is going to be canon. So they're actually making canonical Zelda games now. Um,
This is insanity. Like I
mhm.
this this
Yeah,
I
it's
love it when
bonkers.
Zelda people are like, Hyrule Warriors is not a Zelda game. It sucks. And I'm like,
Yeah, and that's why it's like
you're
it's
right. It's
controversial.
not a Zelda game.
But the funny thing is like they have made some of the most revered Fire Emblem games, right?
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
so Three Houses and Three Hopes, like Fire Emblem fans love those games. And it makes sense because those games are perfect fits with Koei,
Yeah, it fits. It
right?
fits for
The other
sure.
one is like one of my favorites. I gave it to my eldest daughter. She's 25. So I got the top of the pop Pokemon Conquest, which out of anything is just bonkers because it's Pokemon crossed over with
Mhm.
Nobunaga's ambition. What? And
What's
it comes with a card in Japan. So it comes with an exclusive Pokemon card in Japan. So we all know what
there you
Pokemon
go.
cards are like, right?
Yeah. An exclusive Pokemon card in Pokemon Conquest Japanese release.
Yep.
And that's for the DS, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I have to go look for that stupid thing now.
this
Yeah.
is just blowing my
I had a
mind.
US one. I sold that though. I didn't need that. I don't need that crap in my life.
They also did a Yokai Watch, but it's only in Japan. So, and then they did like I've got some badges for it. So they did Yokai Watch crossed over with Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Believe it or not, Japan only though.
I've never
You
cared
need to have a
about
weekly show where you just go on and talk about this.
Yeah,
You need to get back into this.
yeah. I've been basically in collect and acquisitions mode, right? Just get
I would
stuff.
watch it. I would, man. I would listen to this.
I've
Well,
honestly
thanks.
never cared about foreign up until this point, and now I'm interested because it's not just to me, it's opened my eyes to it's not just a
It's variant held,
foreign
Matt.
version of a
Hmm.
game I know. Now it's like, well, there's games I don't even know. And I'm
Yes.
like, but
Yeah.
popular, big
It's
games.
cool.
And I'm like, this is nuts. This is
And they're
crazy.
big in Japan. Like Koei's a big company there. Like it's not small. It's been their bread and butter, which is why in the West, we're like, oh yeah, whatever, Koei. Can we talk about Koei, Tecmo Super Bowl? Like, can we talk about Ninja Gaiden? That's what people would want. Dead or Alive 7, when? Like, that's what everybody wants to talk about is the Tecmo stuff.
When did they
Yeah,
acquire Tecmo?
Tecmo's their own thing, right? Tecmo's
Well,
great.
yeah, that's what's super cool is actually 2008. So I think it is a good one because you basically now have a marriage of the two.
Hmm.
And Neo really represents them coming together because Neo is like, violent ninjas. Like it's got that, it's made by Team Ninja. It's super violent, but then it's also it's actually similar to a Nindo, believe it or not. It's got the
Hmm.
same kind of story because a Nindo is you need Nobunaga comes in and basically slaughters all the ninja in the Aiga village, and you are a ninja that survived, and you want revenge. So the game is you're running around trying to like assassinate Nobunaga. That's your goal in the game, and that's kind of what they carry over to Neo. But Neo was a hit because it's more Dark Souls like, right? It
Sure.
appeals to Western gamers more.
Huh.
Anyways,
Make
Wow.
them go back and play the old stuff. That's what they're gonna do.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, there's lots of cool like covers and like here's one like a baseball game. There's Pennant Race. They released a baseball game in the 80s. That one's cool. There's Hoy
Hmm.
Hoy. Like I said, stop that roach. Yeah, I don't know. It's been fun. So my goal is to really just photograph it, document it, put it into a thing that people can consume so they don't have to consume all of Japan and be overwhelmed to enjoy it. It's kind of
Yeah.
interesting novelty. So I talked to Jeremy Barish about potentially doing something with it. But yeah, I'm going to be working on a book for Boss Fight. Shh, don't tell anyone, but that's going to be coming up.
It's too late, man.
Different project, but
Just told 166 people, so
yeah, woohoo!
166. It's about
Yeah.
right. Sometimes
oh,
it increases more, but
Mhm.
this is nuts. This is
I
crazy.
really love it, man.
Yeah,
Man,
this is.
Japan, it's so fun. Like buying Japanese stuff. We were just at Midwest Gaming Classic, and I think you kind of gathered from, I don't know if you listened to Collector's Quest where Johnny
Yeah.
had his haul, but it
It's
was like
2000. What the fuck is he thinking?
it was you remember what it was like to buy lots? I mean, you guys
Yeah.
buy
I
lots,
know, I
right?
know
And
exactly what it's like
yeah,
to buy
but
lots.
like the fun of like, ooh, I found that. I found that. Like even if it's not that much, you're like, oh yeah. It's just the fun of like not knowing. It's just
Yeah.
basically a big box of dopamine. You're like,
Yeah, yeah.
dopamine anticipation, dopamine, anticipation, dopamine. It was great. And
Yeah,
that's kind of how
that's
I feel with Japan. It's
yeah.
eBay's kind of boring now. It's just I want a game, I buy a game. I've got a game to sell, I'll sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of exchange in the middle, but it's not quite as treasure hunty, you know?
Hmm. You've
No.
evolved. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Estate sales, gaming expos, that's fun because you never know what you're gonna
Yeah.
find. It's wild.
The
Yeah, and
box of
game
manuals that Johnny bought. He bought 2,000 manuals. I listened to that episode. That's insane.
it
That's
was super
psycho.
fun. It was mental and everybody was just making fun of him, especially Tyler.
Just sight
But
unseen, just
I
like
would have
there's
done it. I
2000.
totally would have bought something like that.
oh
But
yeah,
I'm glad
it
that
was
he just had the cojones to just go do it before anybody else did.
he
Like,
did. I mean, I think Scott gave him a little bit of peer pressure. It was like you should. He's got VG
I
Collectaholic in his ear.
at Portland this year, I've been working probably the last 2 months. I've bagged every single piece of paper for video game stuff that I plan to sell. That it's in a bag. Not everything's done yet, but it will be in a bag and it will
Like
have a
reg
price.
cards?
What's that?
Are you doing reg cards?
Everything.
Oh
Literally
wow, yeah.
every piece of
Nice.
paper. Yeah. So I've talked with Johnny about it in the past. I've always thought it'd be cool to just have a table strictly for paper, selling paper at an
Hmm.
expo. And just at this side quest show that Matt and I were at, I
Hmm.
had a little area where I had this paper stuff. I didn't price any of it. I just get through prices out on the fly, but I probably sold $1,000 worth of just paper to people. Like it was nuts.
I'm
And
actually kind of
people just
glad
sit there
people are
and
doing it.
dig. They
Yeah.
dig.
Yeah.
They love it, man. So
I gotta be honest, like that's what I'm more into now. Like
yeah.
I love the manuals. Like actually doing the Koei stuff, the music and the manuals are actually kind of my top things that I like getting. Just because
Oh
you can do more with it, right? Especially if you don't read Japanese. Because playing these is a real bitch. I'm gonna emulate them. Let's be honest.
yeah, that's fair. I don't
What was that music? Once again, you said is worth listening to. It was
the jazz one.
the
Oh yeah, yeah,
jazz.
yeah.
What
So I'll send you a link after. But it's Leading Company is the game. So soundtrack's great. I mean, I love there's a particular track on there that's just awesome. But yeah, like I kind of plan to put together like a best of their soundtracks because there's some good gems in there. I know SNES Drunk has kind of plumbed some of the Koei games for good tracks, but yeah, there's lots of gold hidden in there again, hidden, totally
This
hidden.
that's the cool thing about that I learned early on in Japanese video game collecting was how they package soundtracks with games, like the
Hmm.
Square did. Like I have a Cruise Chaser, right? Is that the game? The
Yeah, Cruise
Square game
Chaser Blasty.
with the LP in it, like the
Hmm.
yeah, that's a wild collectible. Like it's
Hmm.
got a full-blown soundtrack packaged with the game.
Hmm.
So I just think it's fascinating that they were like in the West, we just didn't value the
Totally.
I guess com the music
Yeah.
side of the video game, but
Or
No.
even
they're
the
like
other.
packaging it with the goddamn game
Yeah.
to
Well, and
sell it in 1982.
hmm
19, what
well,
I
so
don't
I
know what
think I
year that
think I
came out,
think
like
Koei
84.
started on the music CD stuff. I think they started it a little later, like it was around 88, 89.
Okay,
So
so
a little
Square was
later.
doing it before them.
Well, yeah, yeah, with the LP, Cruise Chaser
Yeah,
Blasty was. But I mean, it wasn't foreign to Koei because technically the CEO was in a band signed to Universal or Polydor. So I actually just got the LP and I've got a 7-inch that this band, the Kahlua, released in 1971 or 72. But there you go, there he is. Yoichi's on the cover. This is the CEO of Koei on some LP. What the hell? He's playing bass in some jazz band. But yeah, like the other stuff to look for is VHS.
yeah,
This is
baby.
a VHS tape, and I thought it was promo only. Okay.
Mhm.
This is Romance 2. Again, it's previously was my favorite game. I think now Dragon Quest Builders 2, by the way, if you got kids, I love Dragon Quest Builders 2. Just skip all the text, but it's great. Um, yeah, this I thought it was a promo, but this was released for sale because it was 4,980 yen. There's a VHS tape where they got some crazy Japanese rapper to be the host of the show, and then they're interviewing the devs, and then they do like a breakdown of the difference between all the versions of Romance of the Three Kingdoms too. Like, oh, here's the Sharp XD 68,000. This is the
That's
stuff you can find in Japan. Like, here's a full concert about Angelique, and it's like, here's the voice actor speaking. That's crazy, and here's a
they
Dynasty Warriors promo VHS. Like, it's bananas. There's so much ephemera.
Japan just values every aspect of the artistic venture of a video game
Hmm.
more than we do here in the United States
Hmm.
or Canada or wherever you're making a
Hmm.
game, right?
Hmm.
So, and they have for years. That's nuts to me. Like,
Hmm.
I just think about that when I bought that soundtrack or that game, and it came the LP in it. It's nuts.
Hmm.
It's a cool game, by the
Hmm.
way. But
hmm I love Square. I mean, this the hard part is like I'm a little bit more an Enix guy. Like I'm sort of a Square Enix fanboy
yeah,
more than Koei.
that's fair. The
Um,
games are better, so it
they
checks
are
out.
for the most part, but like Three
Interesting.
Kingdoms 2, it's rough around the
Yeah.
edges, but it's basically a board game. If you're into like crunchy Euro style board games,
Hmm.
that's what Koei games are. They're spreadsheets, right?
Yeah.
They're basically like Football Simulator,
So it's
really.
Avalon Hill meets Japan.
Yeah.
So
And in fact, Koei released books of guidebooks for Avalon Hill games.
Okay.
board games. So
Ah,
there's like, here's all these guides on horse gambling. Here's a book on the Beatles that they released. Like I've got boxes of Koei books, right? That's the other thing I haven't shown you is like just there's so much crap. Like, anyways,
it's not crap, it's gold. So
I love it. Like,
yeah.
I just love that nobody's featuring it. I'm just trying to bring it up to go like, isn't this interesting?
It's interesting. It's
Very
That's
it's
it.
really cool
interesting.
stuff. So I think we could talk about this all night,
Wow.
honestly. But um,
All right. Well, I'll transition just a little bit. Well, let's say I'm just gonna skip through all the questions we've gotten so far, and what collection wise, like I like to ask this to people who haven't been on the show before, but I'm sure you've heard answers too. Like house is burning, God forbid, that doesn't happen. You can only grab one collector's item that you have. What's it going to be? Like
One.
one thing that you have in your collection. What are you grabbing? What's your it's not
why don't we
necessarily
change it up and call it a satchel that he can throw?
no, it's one thing.
No, oh, okay, okay.
Uh, man, that's hard.
No.
It forces you. It forces you to
Hmm.
yeah, it's a tough one. I have to think about it every time, and I think my answer changes every time.
It just can't be something you can. To me, it's always something that I could never rebuy again.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
it just has
yeah.
that meaning for you. It's not even necessarily monetary. It's like,
Well, that's the toss up. Like for me, it's never monetary. It's always the story,
yeah,
really. Like maybe it's because I spent too long as a journalist, but I like the story. Like the whole reason for pursuing Koei is the story. Like I would probably like I won't dox myself, but this is my copy of Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2 that was mine that I
I get
wrote
it. Yeah.
in Sharpie on it, like property of Chris Gliddon, like a noob. Anyways, like, and the thing
Like
is,
a
I know better
douchebag.
too. Like total douchebag thing to do. Anyways, like, um, wow, like,
You let your friend borrow that, and they gave you Goof Troop, and they're like, "I want Goof Troop back as soon as I can." You're like, "That's fine. Rid of this shit."
yeah, it's a toss up because like I could go either way. Like, do you do this is personally significant to me, or is this just really balls ass hard to find again?
Yeah.
Um, and I gotta say, I probably would say the Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2 with a CD. The one I mentioned that was like, oh yeah, there's a copy up. It's $22,000.
and you
Like,
got
yeah,
it
no
for
thanks.
300.
Um, but it doesn't feel the most significant. Like most significant, I would probably go with, the first Koei game, right? Like the one that was, yeah, see, this is hard because they
But
released the one that was like the hit, so it would have sold better. But then there's investment game that you'd never see, and no one ever talks about it. Like if you look at Koei PR, they just kind of go, "Oh, we released Battle of Kiwanikojima, and then Nobunaga's Ambition, and then all that other stuff that I showed you guys is not in anything. They have erased this stuff. It is
hmm.
gone from everything in their PR. It does not
so,
exist.
so
So,
the answer is the item you can't get again. That's it. Is that
yeah,
investment?
So it's your childhood game that you wrote your name on.
no, that can burn. It's fine. I'll go with like investment game or Battle of Kiwanikojima because like those ones are just a real pain. I'm never gonna find them again. Heck, this word processor, where the hell am I gonna get that again? Like that's the problem. This is a hard question because I just like here's Lord of Darkness as a demo disc. Here's demo discs for Lord of Darkness from Japan. I
That's
need to
freaking
get these
awesome.
graded. I don't know what the hell to do with some 5.5, 5.25. What is it? 5.5, 5.25 floppies?
5.25
Who would do
floppies.
that? Would V? I mean, I know
Only a
VGA
maniac
would
like me.
I
case
wouldn't
it.
grade them. I would just, I don't know,
No,
dump
I'm
them.
just thinking
I,
who has the case to
yeah,
hold it.
I would probably need to custom case some of this stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very hard stuff to display. I have Commodore
Yeah,
64 prototype discs that are just in a baggie, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've got some other square
There
ones
we
down
go,
here
Matt.
that
We
are
need
like
to
that.
make some cases for 5 1/4 discs because people got cool shit.
Well, the other one is like cassettes, man.
Oh,
Like
cassettes,
there's
yes.
so many of these. Like think about all
Yeah.
the ZX Spectrum stuff out of PAL region,
Yeah.
right? Like
Oh, like
who's
They just
grading cassettes?
look
they
at
grade
this. Look how
cassettes.
cool this shit is.
Oh, it's so good.
They grade cassettes. Who's grading cassettes right now? Is it Beckett? No, who's doing cassette? It's no. Wada does
Oh,
cassettes, don't they?
double cassettes, those are real pain. Like, man, those double tape.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah, nobody's doing that.
Ah,
But
I love it. It's just, I love this stuff.
I like cassettes. I do. Um,
Do you have
I
any?
got some box protectors for cassettes lately. So
Do you?
Yeah, where's a good box protector place? I should get some. Anyways, you can tell me after.
just eBay.
Do
eBay.
you?
I
Well,
don't know.
you watch and or listen to the show. We
Hmm.
always like to do wins. Do you have any wins? You have anything you've recently picked up that was just like, yeah, obviously
Hmm.
you can share almost anything. You shared some awesome stuff, but maybe
Hmm.
something we haven't seen. Um,
Hmm. I think the one win, it's like sort of a minor win, but it's really cool. When I went to Midwest Gaming Classic just
mhm.
recently, luckily everybody is, at least some of the collectors are aware of my weirdness and the sickness. I saw somebody on Blue Sky saying the Koei sickness. The Koei sickos who like to play these like weird, crappy spreadsheet games, right? Like everybody makes fun of them in the West. They're like, what the heck? Like the one guy I met was like, he went, I always thought it was a joke. I thought you were just like joking about all this Koei crap. And the moment he meets me, I've got a stack of Japanese Famicom Koei games. He's like, "Oh, it's real. Okay, yeah, you're weird. I don't understand." But in that stack, luckily that was brought up by oh, I can't remember his name. This is so bad. Retro game enthusiast on Instagram, John. So
Mhm.
John had brought up from Kansas City a stack of Koei games for me. So he'd brought up a bunch of Famicom loose cards, but one of them was a Taiwanese bootleg of Romance 1. I was like, awesome. This is the kind of stuff I wouldn't go out to grab it, and it's not valuable. Like no one's gonna care, but I care because it's like here's a weird little thing, and if anyone's gonna have it, I think it's probably best that the Koei King of Canada has it. Like this
Oh,
is the
King of
joke label.
Canada.
Yeah, this is my new joke label: is the Koei King of Canada. I mean, because who the hell else has got all this junk in their house, right? Like
KKC.
it's got to
KKO.
be C. Don't misspell Canada. Canada spelled with a C.
Canada with
There's
a
an
K.
O in there too, Matt.
Yeah,
KKOC.
yeah. K-cock. It's
Okay,
fine.
KKOC.
K-cock. He's the
K-cock.
K-cock.
I'm the
K-cock.
K-cock. It's all good.
Chris Gliddon K-cock.
Yeah,
Chris K-cock
yeah.
Gliddon.
I'll title the episode with Chris Kaycock.
K-cock.
Glidden.
No, don't do that.
Kaycock. Josh, you got any wins? I'm going to skip comments this time
Yep, I
because I
got.
literally just released last episode we recorded a few
Oh,
hours
sure.
ago.
Yeah,
So this,
I got a lot of stuff lately. I
what's
got a
some?
package from Andrew Morgan today, and
Oh,
it's just filled with paper, and I haven't had a chance to really go through it. But on top of it, and I don't think I knew that he was adding this in there, was this absolutely ridiculous Super Mario
Oh
Brothers
man.
towel.
Oh, I love that. That's the same that's the same illustration as on the bed sheets, isn't it?
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
it was used as packing material on the top of the package, which I'm kind of dying over. I did buy this ridiculously stupid piece of paper. It is from this company called CSD, Consumer Electronics, and it was their February 92 catalog. This was a store you could order video game stuff from and other electronics, but it was straight from CES 1992, Winter CES
Ooh,
1992. And it
nice.
has all these really great video game ads or pages in for games that were coming out in 1992. And I bought this from a guy who's just slowly been selling off his another guy's collection of paper who went to CES over the years. And whenever he posts something that's weird and strange and unique, I always buy it off
Yeah,
eBay.
yeah.
So
Don't blame
that's
you.
that's one of those. And I did get a lot of stuff, but I'm not going to bore you with any more of it tonight. So,
Oh,
but
I love all your stuff like that. Like that's the kind of stuff Frank loves, right? He's gonna like hoard in his like, vault
yeah,
in Oakland, right?
I got cool paper. I'm really into it lately. So when you show me the rice paper with
Oh, it's just I love it
that's
so
that's
much.
cool stuff, man. And I understand how fragile something like that is. I also bought a bunch of GTA promo lots off of Heritage Auctions a couple weeks back, and they arrived, and every lot had a lighter, a GTA, a San Andreas lighter, and a book of matches. And these were promos that I think were given out at GameStop. And I have a stack of GTA San Andreas matchbooks now, and I think they're like 20, $30 a piece. So the lighters are really cool though.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Um, I
That
buy
stuff
I
gets
buy
hard. Like, man, it's because they do small print runs of them. Like, I know because we've done it. Like, I've done it for work, right? You do these small print runs, there's not very many. And then you're like, whatever. You don't value them at the time. Like, we did the Club Penguin game on Wii. We
Yeah,
did a
so
version
you
for staff.
okay,
And
so
I wrote the copy on the back and I said, hey, because I'm a collector, right? So I'm like, we
yeah.
need to make sure it's a black design,
Okay,
right? So it's
okay.
like, I want it to be not white, I want it to be a black cover. And so they're like, so I had the designer, he was working on another version of it that was white. And I was like, no, no, it has to be black. And so that was it was like the surprise gift to the team. And I literally just like gave mine to Valley Village. I'm like, fuck that. I'm over this. I need
It
a
was a
break.
Wii fuck Club Penguin, right? Or
Yeah, well,
uh
because it's like some $10 game, right? Like no,
right,
like
yeah.
you're just thinking, oh yeah, shovelware, whatever. But let me tell you, the Penguin fans, this is my pro tip to you guys. The Penguin fans are coming up in age and are now collecting. So all that stuff like lighters and matches, they look
Hmm.
for it, right?
They do. The So Chris, tell us, I don't think you told us at the beginning, but what do you do when you're not moonlighting as a Koei um
Yeah.
aficionado?
So I'm a video game producer, but I was all kinds of hats. I was in management at Disney working on the Club Penguin product, which grew to like 400 million accounts. It was a pretty big deal for Gen Z and some millennials.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so we sold millions of copies of the DS game, right?
Right.
That's actually like one of the sort of the closest things my better half and I met at work. So she's from England, so my Brit, not mine, but my better half. Um, but we one night we basically rewrote that script because they're like, oh, here we go, here's the DS game. Why don't you reread this script? And then it was like, oh, hey, here we go. We give us an inch, we'll take a mile. We just rewrote the whole damn script because we're like, this is terrible. Let's rewrite the whole thing. Um, but yeah, like I worked there for many years. I was in management. I had community managers, video editors, composers reporting to me, writers, translators, the whole works. And so I was a famous penguin, and then they're like, your screen name it belongs to the Walt Disney Company. It's not yours, Chris. And that's why I was like, well, whatever, Tiger Wolf, it's my thing. It's like, not your thing.
Hmm.
Drama. But anyways, um, yeah,
That's
what a
wild.
ride.
So
But I
so are
was
you
I was the
still
archivist, so I appeared on Video Game History Hour a few years back or whatever. Spoke to Frank and Kelsey about my time of running the Club Penguin archives. Yeah,
very cool. So
yeah.
are you still there working with
Nope,
no, okay.
no, but I do work with the guy who made it in his basement. So
Okay.
he's one of my bosses. So great
So
guy.
when the weird Club Penguin thing comes up on eBay, I can message you and be like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
you
is this
anything you
legit?"
want to know about Penguin, I've got massive Airtable databases of Penguin stuff. I
Okay.
know the Penguin history inside and out. The writing team, the story team reported to me. I have like a history of merch, and it's a lot. Like,
Yeah, I've seen some strange stuff, and I was like, this is odd, an odd item to be
yeah,
released,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. And luckily, we've talked enough about Koei stuff that we're not going to get a bunch of Club Penguin weirdos showing up because this maybe, I don't know, maybe they will, but
I'll title it just that.
no, please
It's
don't.
like
Club
I just,
Penguin. We
Club
talked the
Penguin.
whole time about Club Penguin. It's just a little segment at the end.
No,
yeah. I mean,
don't do it, Matt.
I love it because, again, I believe in video game history. I love preservation. And again, I showed you that Beatles book, right?
Hmm.
I love preserving stuff, and I was like, this is too weird a story to not capture.
Sure.
So I've also been working on that story, making sure that it's there. And one day the story of Penguin will come out. It's just a question of when, and there's happens to be a very large, litigious company involved, so it's not as easy as just kind of farting something out. Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
but yeah, I have
Matt, what
many
did you?
opinions.
Yeah, Matt, what you got?
I just got a couple that I've had sitting here for like probably a year, so I'll just share it real quick.
Probably a
Josh
year.
inspired me to get one of these. I don't know why. I
Wait,
just
wait.
had to.
Is that my copy or
No, I got found one on
oh, you got
eBay,
the top graded pocket pool. Look at
Top of the
you.
pop.
and
That is
then
a did you see have you seen that game, Chris? It's the most ridiculous video game ever made.
I love ridiculous.
I
Like
mean
that's,
you can't see the back too
oh
well, but
man.
it's yeah,
It's
it's
literally
probably
the game is called
NC-17.
Pocket Pool and it's like
hmm
strip poker but pool.
Isn't it kind of sad that you don't have those coming out physically anymore because now it's just going to come out on Steam as some
It's
sort of like
some
adult
vulgar
game and
bullshit on
yeah.
Steam. Hey, leave your filters set for on Steam. Never turn those off if you don't want to see the stupidest bullshit in the world. So,
hmm
yeah.
And then the only other one I'll share a show was I did get this from Josh, but it was a 1 HP. This is one of my top five games personally. So I was
Good taste.
stoked to get that.
That's why I'm a
Great.
huge fan of like I love Dragon Quest even to this day, and I am a huge advocate for Dragon Quest Builders too. I love it. Deeply flawed, but it's basically Minecraft meets Dragon Quest. Come on, love it. But yeah, my kids all over it. Love that game.
Did your kid play
And it's
Minecraft?
Koei Tecmo and Square Enix working together. How could I not love it?
Does your kid play Minecraft?
A little bit, but she's more into Dragon Quest Builders actually.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's cool because
Minecraft
it's not all
has
block.
Minecraft has major pull. Be careful. So,
Oh yeah, she's played a bit of it.
yeah.
Um, I don't know what it is, but I just don't love voxel. I don't love the look of voxel, and I'm a pixel art guy. I just
Yeah.
I don't know. And the thing is about voxel, no one else can ever do voxel because it will always look like Minecraft.
Yeah. It will.
They have dominated voxel. No one else gets voxel. It is
It's
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
hmm
Like Kleenex. So,
hmm
it's their name. All right.
Well, Chris, it's been fantastic having you on. I mean, my mind's blown, and uh, it's been awesome learning about Koei, and I'm gonna dig deeper. I'm gonna get into the soundtrack. I want to look for your link that you're gonna send me, because I love music, so I can't wait to hear some of that. And then where can everybody find you if you want to be found? I know you said you had a podcast. What is that if you want people to listen to that? Social media, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think just right now I'm building up a website, JapaneseGameHistory.com, because
Okay.
I think that's a good, clear focus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eventually, I'm going to start building that up. You can find my old stuff. If you want to see the Portland video or whatever, I think it's Tiger Wolf Games on YouTube. So if you want to
Okay.
find me there, you can. Yeah, or you could always just email me, whatever. Just find me. You'll just look my name up. You'll find me somewhere. Throw a stone, and then you'll end up hitting this schmuck. But thanks for having me. I'm sorry if I just blabbed too much about
No,
Koei
man.
nonsense with you guys.
This
No,
is great. I
I
love
th
this
I thought I
shit.
was going to get left out, and I became very interested as you were going on and getting deeper, and it's fantastic. And your documentation is awesome because we really should be doing that for so many other aspects of game collecting. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the point of this podcast is to bring people like you that have this expertise in this area to help share it to people because who knows how many years down the road somebody's going to watch this and learn something and rather than just let it go off and die
Mm.
off and never be known or shared with anybody. That's yeah.
It's big, man. It's
It's
important.
it's cool. I'm glad people are doing stuff, and I want to see more. Like selfishly, I want to see more. documentaries, videos and stuff, right? Like that's why I'm stoked about what they're doing at what Frank and Phil are doing at Video Game History Foundation. Like I'm like, I want to see more like cool movies, like what you guys did with the Tetris thing. I'm like, more, please.
Mhm.
Like music documentaries are the best. Why are there not more like that? Like give me more like Searching for Sugar Man. And I'm a documentary nerd, man. Why is that more of that?
So
So like
you liked Ecstasy of Order?
yeah, it's awesome. I'm like totally in for any like it's just right there. Come on. Like I'm super glad that I haven't watched the Madden one yet, but I'm super excited
I
to
haven't
get
seen
into dig
I
into
haven't
that
seen the
one.
Madden one. When's the Madden one?
It just came out really recently. It's in the game, of
Oh
course.
shit.
Gotta come up with the title.
Well,
Um,
I'm gonna need to take your Airtable tactic and apply it to the Madden guide.
you
So
guys have got to try your table. Like,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
know Tyler will be like, yeah, God, you should use open source and use NoCo. I'm like,
No,
I don't have
Tyler's gonna sit
time.
there and be like, just use Excel. Say,
No, he specifically he will tell you to use this specific text database thing that's just text files, but it has like database-like properties and it's open source.
yeah,
Like
okay,
he
yeah.
knows great stuff, and I love that about Tyler. I just tease him, and he hates the fact that I'm putting into some evil mega corporation's data. I'm like, I don't care. I just need a place to dump all this Koei crap and organize it well. And frankly, nothing else is like it. It is baller.
Yeah,
I just I'm
Yeah,
huge on Airtable.
that was easy for me to search right there. I
that
mean, I
was very
understood it.
cool.
It was
Very cool.
Hmm.
great. Well, thank you again for coming on. We
Thanks so
appreciate it.
much for having me, guys. It was really bizarre to talk to you because I'm like, am I talking to the podcast I watch? This
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I finally actually get to talk to you guys. This is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. When we tell listeners, hey, you want to come on the podcast and you want to, share what you're doing or talk video games or whatever, just sit there and have fun.
Yeah, when
Bring
you
you
find
on.
the next great Koei thing, bring it on, man.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
put you
bring you
back on.
back
Let's
and
talk about it.
It sounds good. Yeah,
yeah.
I'll maybe once I get the Angelique spoons and I'll show you the
You cracked the
I
winning
have to get a
post
copy of their
code.
console. Do you know they made a console? Yeah, maybe I'll bring that on. I don't have the console yet, but I've got the games. Here's their portable console that only plays Go,
Oh.
and it's an x86 processor. Go figure. It's a world of goodies. If you're looking for nonsense, there's a lot of it.
Well, we're looking for the Pocket PC aficionado next. So
Nice.
uh, anyways, well, thanks again, Chris.
Thanks,
Yeah.
It's
guys.
fun.
Thanks again. Anybody has thoughts, comments, leave them below. Hate mail goes to Josh.
Yeah.
We appreciate you all. We love you all. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.